But there's no way you can tell me Jerry didn't know what he was doing and tell his franchise quarterback, we're acquiring a guy who was very highly thought of at the most important position of the team.
Originally, I wanted to bring you guys this video the day after the Trey Lance trade, but as we waited, things would get crazier and crazier and crazier, and I do think some of it is sensationalized a little bit because that's just what the Dallas Cowboys do. But at this point, there's enough details to bring you guys a follow-up on the story. So before we get to the content, we're still running giveaways on my Instagram story and Snapchat story, giving away copies of Madden 24 for the Xbox and also PlayStation codes, because we can't give away PlayStation copies of Madden for some reason. Now that we get all that out of the way, break! This is pretty much free money. We only need to correctly pick 2 squares to 3x our money on Prize Picks. And to celebrate the NFL season kicking off, Prize Picks is giving us a free square. All Dak Prescott needs is 1 passing yard in order to fulfill his square. So you combine that with Travis Kelce, who only needs 1 receiving touchdown, and in my opinion, this is a guaranteed win in our books. I don't care if you're the biggest Cowboy hater on earth, Dak Prescott will get 1 passing yard. And we all know Travis Kelce is definitely going to get 1 receiving touchdown. And if you haven't signed up for Prize Picks yet, you could match your initial deposit by using my promo code Mikerophone when you sign up. That's promo code Mikerophone when you sign up for Prize Picks, or just click on the link in the description down below. And thank you, Prize Picks, for the sponsor. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? At this point, I don't think anyone is going to dispute the fact that the Trey Lance trade, the original Trey Lance trade, where the San Francisco 49ers gave up 3 first-round picks to move up to the 3rd overall pick of the 2021 NFL draft to select Trey Lance, was a failure. From all accounts, it was an unmitigated disaster. From the asset management perspective, you gave up 2 first-round picks and swapped a first-round pick to move up from number 12 to number 3, to select a quarterback that turned out to be the biggest project out of every quarterback in the first round of that NFL draft. You could have stayed at your original selection and selected Mac Jones. You could have stayed at your original selection and maybe traded up 2 or 3 picks and gave up significantly less capital so you could take Justin Fields. You could have selected Justin Fields at number 3 overall, and that would have worked out just fine. But the fact that the 49ers were a Super Bowl contender and then decided to trade for a project QB is not something Super Bowl contenders typically do. If you're a quarterback away from winning the Super Bowl, you want to go after a quarterback that is the most ready to play in a Super Bowl or to play in the NFL. And it's not like Kyle Shanahan really needed a lot to get there to begin with. This man was able to do it with Jimmy Garoppolo. Last year, he was able to do it with Brock Purdy, which is the reason why we're in this situation. Kyle Shanahan's system has proven to us that he doesn't need a superstar at quarterback in order to be successful. Or if you're not looking at it from the prospect perspective, I mean, bear in mind, every single player that was selected after Trey Lance was pretty good at the game of football. Imagine Kyle Pitts, Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, Penei Sewell, Patrick Surtain, Devontae Smith, Justin Fields, Micah Parsons, or Rashawn Slater on the 49ers. If you're not looking at it as a failure from that perspective, the final way you could look at it as a failure is just a pure organizational perspective. Selected a project QB, you gave up significant capital to move up to number 3 to select him. You played him for 3.5 games before deciding that you wanted to move forward with a quarterback that, don't get me wrong, Brock Purdy, awesome in the 6 games he played, and he still has yet to lose a game, but you're taking a huge risk betting everything on the last pick of the 2022 NFL draft that is coming back from elbow surgery, and now there's teams that have tape on him. So that came and went, and the San Francisco 49ers decided to trade him to the Dallas Cowboys. And although we made a video that was more 49ers centric in the video that we did on the wild Nick Bosa rumor that I personally don't think is going to happen, but I'll leave a link to that in the end screen, we have yet to take a look at this from the Dallas Cowboys perspective. See, although you could view this as an organizational failure from the 49ers perspective, I mean, hell, you have your previous franchise QB kind of throwing shade at how things are run with the San Francisco 49ers.
What did you make of the Trey Lance trade to Dallas?
Weird situation. Been a lot of weird situations over there in San Francisco, just to leave it at that. But, I'm happy Trey got another shot, man.
How do you think San Francisco's handled those quarterback situations?
How do you think they've handled them?
I think it's been messy. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, that's a nice way to put it.
You have Kyle Shanahan coming out and saying that he let Trey Lance down.
I always feel like I let Trey down. I mean, I wanted him to come here. I believe in Trey. I believed in him before we took him, and I'm responsible for that. I didn't want to throw him into the heat of battle right away, but I thought he needed to play. So we tried to figure out every way to do that. I mean, if I can look back in hindsight, he broke that finger on a helmet on that fourth preseason game versus the Raiders. I wish I didn't put him in a play that had him break his finger, because I think that really hurt him in his first year. And not only did it hurt him not getting able to mix in much, but it hurt him in the practice time because he had to adjust how he threw and things like that, which I think set him back for his second year. When we went into the second year, we gave him every chance to do it. We were going to make an offense that, to me, gave him the best chance to be successful at that time, which we did do. And when you do that, you hope a guy can stay healthy so he can stay out there long enough. But that didn't last long. It was the first game, and after that, I mean, I always felt for him, and we continue to work with him. But sometimes things just don't work out.
And you have John Lynch doing his best on national TV, rationalizing this decision.
A really hard day. Such a wonderful young man. We took a shot and it didn't work out. We own that. We take accountability for it. His story is still very much unwritten, and I'm excited for Trey. Dallas stepped up and really wanted him, and they came after him, and I think it's going to be a great landing spot for him. I could tell everybody it wasn't for lack of effort on Trey's part or on our part that it didn't work. Circumstances took hold, and he struggled through injuries, and this team's ready to win. And we like our quarterback room. We like Brock Purdy a lot. We like Sam Darnold, and we like Brandon Allen. So we wish Trey all the best in Dallas, and we'll always care about that young man and admire his work ethic and the person that he is.
But what about the Dallas Cowboys? I know on paper, if you're playing Madden's horrific franchise mode, you might be thinking, hey, this is a no-brainer. This guy was the number 3 overall pick in the 2021 NFL draft. If you could get him for a 4th-round pick, then it's worth giving up a 4th-round pick to get Trey Lance. What we briefly touched up on during the trade video was the fact that this adds a significant amount of pressure onto Dak Prescott, likening his situation to what Aaron Rodgers went through during the 2022 season. For those of you guys that don't remember, during the 2019 season, Aaron Rodgers had a below average season by his standards. He made it to a Pro Bowl. He completed 62% of his passes, threw for over 4,000 yards, 26 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. But he also posted one of the lowest QBRs of his career, a 52.5. So this gave the Green Bay Packers an idea. Maybe Aaron Rodgers is washed and they should select Jordan Love and prepare his successor. And this pissed off Aaron Rodgers really bad. So what did Aaron Rodgers do? Well, he won back-to-back MVPs, and he made it impossible for the Packers to play Jordan Love. I mean, it got really weird. I mean, eventually the Packers would sign Aaron Rodgers to a contract extension. Obviously, the Packers would inevitably decide to trade Aaron Rodgers this past offseason because they had no choice but to play Jordan Love. His rookie contract was about to expire, and they really needed to see what they had in him. But it seems like the Cowboys are in a somewhat similar situation with Dak Prescott, although not exactly. One season removed from one of his most prolific seasons in his entire career, Dak Prescott gave us one of his worst seasons of his entire career, throwing for a career high in interceptions and 23 touchdowns. So the theory was that the Cowboys got Trey Lance just to apply a little bit of pressure onto Dak Prescott. Dak's initial reaction was showing empathy to Will Grier, because as a result of the Cowboys trading for Trey Lance, the Cowboys had to cut Will Grier, who gave a great performance in his preseason finale and then got signed to the Bengals practice squad. But it wouldn't really stop there, because it seems like Jerry Jones, although on one hand would say,
hey, don't worry, we're gonna sign Dak Prescott to a contract extension,
but he would definitely fan the flames a little bit, saying that the Cowboys even wanted to draft Jalen Hurts in the 2nd round of the 2020 NFL draft had Jalen Hurts fallen down to them. Now, bear in mind, the 2020 NFL draft is following a season where Dak threw 30 touchdowns to 11 interceptions. And this is following Dak Prescott's best season of his entire career, although the Cowboys went 8-8. So the Cowboys were already looking for the Dak Prescott successor all the way back in 2020. Watch.
I think had we been able to draft him with next year's 4, the kind of talent he was in this draft, like I just told you 2 years ago, we were looking at Philadelphia quarterback, I'm not going to call any names, but looking at him, had he fallen to us there, we would have drafted him. It is our plan when we can, but it very seldom happens to have someone of a of high enough quality to be there at the right place with our draft pick. This one worked. And so we're excited about it.
Jerry is really applying some pressure over here. Now, how does Dak Prescott feel about bringing on Trey Lance? You're bringing in a 23-year-old project QB who presumably isn't ready to start. He doesn't know any installs. There's no way Trey Lance could take over for Dak Prescott this year. There's no way. This is more of a long-term play. You see, there's an out for Dak Prescott's contract next year. And next year is also when Dak Prescott counts for $61.9 million against the cap. Trey Lance can't just come in and play quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys this year. He's not. That's not going to happen. He's not even going to be the backup quarterback for the Cowboys this year. If anything, that's going to be Cooper Rush. Next year is a completely different story. And you can tell Dak Prescott feels some sort of way about this.
I mean, I can't say that I necessarily expected it, no. I understand that that's business. I understand that they're probably on a timeline. They need to get something done. And as I said, he felt like that strengthened his team. To be honest with you, I'm not surprised by anything anymore. You've been in this league 8 years, been on this team. It's hard to say that I was surprised, to be honest with you.
I'll give Trey Lance as much credit as I possibly can here. He's taken the whole situation in stride and handled it in a very classy way. He's made his debut for the Cowboys in practice. We know he's going to be wearing the number 15. And this is what Trey Lance had to say about the entire experience in his first interview as a Dallas Cowboy. And I have to admit, watching him in Cowboys merch is so trippy to me.
For me, like I said, I'm not looking forward at all. Just really trying to take it one day at a time, and obviously played at a very high level for a very long time. So nothing but, obviously just tons and tons of respect for him, as I think he deserves and gets from across the league. So for me, just trying to learn everything I possibly can from him. I got to see him today, man. I was super excited. Obviously for him, got to watch his last preseason game, man. He had a great game. So
someone actually dug up Trey Lance's original interview with the San Francisco 49ers and said this is very similar.
Definitely looking forward to continuing learning, as much as I can from him. He's one of the, like I said earlier, the best people that I've ever been around on and off the field. So just super excited to continue to learn this year as much as I can from him.
But I think Trey Lance is handling the situation remarkably. He did get dealt a bad hand. I don't necessarily agree with calling this man a bust for playing 3.5 games and not succeeding, but I do blame the San Francisco 49ers for mismanaging the situation on all accounts and all levels. I'm interested to see how this is going to work out for the Cowboys and Dak Prescott. You're either going to see Dak Prescott take the next step and play a near MVP level this season, and I know some people are going to say,
"Oh, Mike, you're just being a delusional Cowboy fan."
Historically, whenever you give Dak Prescott weapons on offense, he plays pretty well. But you're either going to see him take that type of leap, or he's going to crack under pressure, and the Cowboys are probably going to move on from him sooner rather than later. At the end of the day, I think this is a win for Trey Lance because, dude, you're the quarterback 3 for the Dallas Cowboys, and you make $34 million to sit your butt down and learn from Dak Prescott, which he said he wants to do. This might be the pressure that Dak Prescott needs to step up his game. And if not, at least the Cowboys do have a contingency plan and someone to hand the torch off to once the Dak Prescott era is over. Or Dak could fight him off and Trey Lance never gets the opportunity to do so. There's a lot of ways this can go in, so let me know in the comments section down below. What do you guys think about all this? Do you think Jerry Jones is being malicious over here? Do you think the pressure is going to be good for Dak? I'd like to hear what you have to say. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.